Hello everybody, this is Alex Spence, self-realised renunciate monk in the middle of nowhere. It was a beautiful day on the English countryside, but I hope we're all well. I just want to say welcome and hello, and just want to say thank you for watching this video. I've just got some sort of light worker, empath, indigo, whatever this sort of like, whatever labels it, whatever you feel more drawn to. If I'm honest, I feel like a sort of wandering soul just being here right now in this sort of incarnation. I don't really know what to call it, but I just know I feel like a bit of a wanderer. I think that's the best way to put it. But just see if you can relate to any of these. That's all I want. I'm just sort of throwing this out. They got like 8 traits. Do you feel like, did you spend a part of your life like wondering what the hell is going on? Before you'd even heard of any labels, before you even knew sort of like about light worker, starseed or indigo or sensitives or anything, did you just not know any? Did you sort of wonder what the hell was going on? You just had a load of stuff going on inside of you which you just couldn't work out. And like so much, you had sort of catastrophes in your life that were sort of hitting you like side by side and just not knowing what's going on. Right, number 2, you have this sort of, for crowded places, you get even sort of intimate settings. If you go into a room, you can sort of like, you can just feel what's going on. You don't sort of know, you don't know the context, but you can feel something that's going on. And it's, let's say if you're in crowded places, let's say like in stage 1, where you sort of like, you just want to work, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what the labels are. If you were in that stage and then you're, say, in a crowded place, and all this sort of like collective energy would just get to you. I remember from my journey, I just remember at some stage, like years ago, especially when you sort of like, you go through the wily going out phase and you sort of like in clubs and stuff. I remember one stage, just sort of like running out, excuse me, it's all these bugs out in the wilderness. I just remember running out of there, man. I remember thinking, it was just, I don't know what it was. I don't know what, at the time I didn't know what it was, but now it was just like, it was the collectiveness of everything that was going on. Excuse me. Number 3, you have like this disconnectedness from like humanity. You just sort of almost look at these humans as like, there's this massive disconnection there. You just feel like I'm over here and they're over there. You sort of wonder what they sort of talk about to each other. You sort of wonder like, how do they interact with each other, man? There can be sort of this massive barrier between you and them, which for years can cause lots of sort of like the isolated feeling of not belonging. But then from my journey, you sort of like, you get sort of like, no matter if they feel that disconnection, you know that essentially we are made of all the same stuff. And I think this is really hard when you feel like that, when it's your own family. And you have a real disconnection. You don't feel like, there's love there, but you feel that separateness. But it's nice to resolve that and come to the conclusion that we are all connected. We are all made of the same stuff, no matter where we came from in previous lives, or where our souls are actually originated from, or wherever. And number 4, did you get this feeling sort of like this is sort of continuing from number 3, do you get a feeling sort of like you just don't belong in your own skin? Like, I mean, like, you're always like, oh, this doesn't sort of feel right, and you can sort of like, you can have like an identity crisis. You sort of wonder, sort of like, you can go through phases of not liking who you are. You feel so separate from yourself. You feel like something's trapped inside this, ready to express. And number 5, you have this kind of sort of longing to go home. I think this accumulation of how you feel here, and like this disconnection from everyone, and like the feelings of not being in your own skin, and just it all compounds each other, and you have this feeling of not being at home. You have a feeling of wanting to go home, but you have no idea what that is, because it's the deal with reincarnation. You have to forget everything. That's sort of like that's a bum ass deal that they do. You have to forget everything, so you're just sort of like left with all these steps that I'm just going through, and you have this sort of like yearning to sort of go home. You just don't feel in place. And number 6, you just really sense about people. You have a real sort of like, you just sort of like your spider senses are on alert. I had a good example of this is when I shook someone's hand the other day, and I could look into his soul, and I sort of knew what his thoughts were on a real profound level. You can see people speaking with their eyes, and even before you've even had eye contact, you sort of know what's coming. You can predict. It's like you really feel like you can, like that eye is open, wide, looking at everyone's soul. And that can either be a beautiful thing or a real scary thing, because it opens up the doors of so many sort of like startling revelations about what you sense about people, what are people's ulterior motives. And number 7, you make a stand, you make a sort of declaration that you want to find out your own knowledge. You sort of like, because your spider senses are on red alert, the more in tune you are because you're so in tune with yourself. It's almost, you don't put up with, you can't start. It's almost like the stench that's people that you get told as you grow up, especially what you're taught at school. It all sort of like, it's marinated in the background of sort of like this smell of like falsehood, and you just don't take it. You're like, enough's enough. I'm going to teach myself my own knowledge. I'm going to answer my own questions. I'm not going to have anyone tell me this is what you should believe. It's a case of go out there, find out yourself. Prove people wrong. You don't have to prove them wrong. Just prove yourself right. Doesn't matter about anyone else. But there's sort of like that. And that knowledge that you gain from that is it's just more, you get the revelations of like searching for that truth. And I hope you really sort of like you get me on this, because this is one of my favourite parts of the journey. Was finding out all this knowledge about where we've come from, what happened 10,000 years ago. And number 8. Following on from almost the knowledge that we just talked about, finding your own knowledge, you take a massive step to the left of society and the world, because you see how it runs. You see through it, like the guy I shook hands with the other week. You just see through it. That's the best way to put it. All the bullshit that's on TV, that tells that just lies to us on the regs. You just almost feel like unplugging from it, because of there's a smell in the air that you just don't like. It's just too much for you, because you're so sensitive. Going back to one of the other points, because you're so sensitive to everything, it can sort of knock you for 6 when you start realising sort of like how everything's run. So in the end, for me, it worked out better for me to just detach from it. I don't focus on it anymore. I don't look at all the bad stuff that's going on in the world, because I see that's just the way that's the way people are evolving. And in my eyes, they can be left behind, and we can just keep marching forward. That's the best way I can look at it. Just leave them behind. Right, okay, I hope you sort of get my feeling on this. I hope you can sort of relate. It just, whatever you feel drawn towards, whether it's indigo, starseed, light workers, empaths, sensitives, and all this kind of stuff. I think we're all essentially here for the same thing. We're here to walk, raise everybody up. Anyone that's around you that wants to be raised up, will raise them up, and then people that don't, we'll leave them behind. You can just leave them behind, man. Right, okay, so I'm going to leave this now. This is Alex Spence, self-realised, renunciate monk, in the middle of nowhere again. It was a beautiful day in England. I just want to say peace out, guys, much love. Thank you for your time and your attention and listening to me. If you like my page, hit the subscribe button, hit that blue button, sign up, get some weekly newsletters on all this beautiful stuff that I'm talking about. And peace out, man, and God bless.